All right. Hopefully everything comes through okay here. Um, so yeah, we're gonna do a little more GPT with me. When we left off, before the headphones died, they're still dead. They're charging. We're looking at a blog post about the ABCs of GPTs in your toolchain. Not sure this is the direction I'm going to take it. I still like the idea of including GPT in your toolchain, but it feels like this experiment is becoming a bit more of that topic and less relevant to kind of like piping and joining things together. Just back to how do I use it in my day-to-day work. Can't say I've ever done this before. I mean, other than like testing a few things, but if you at a GPT, a specialized version of ChatGPT with knowledge and a few other things, maybe we could take a quick poke at that a little bit later. You can talk to a GPT that's a bit more specialized, though the general ones seem to do pretty good. But in this case, Code Copilot, write me a Python script to find primes up to 10,000. Do not print anything out. So, oftentimes if you ask it to write a script, it's going to be like, hey, yeah, I'll write you a script, and there's a print line somewhere in there. Well, not the most annoying thing in the world, especially if you kind of want to just test it quickly. But for my purposes, it's going to get in the way, or at least cause me annoyance. Okay, so I've got a function called generate primes. Okay, cool. So awesome. Now I'm going to go at TDD buddy. So I'm going to take that concept from the Unix piping. So I've got one small GPT or small program that did one piece of the puzzle for me. In this case, it generated a Python script to find primes. I'm now going to contact another specialized piece of that pipeline. In this case, my TDD buddy GPT that's going to now go about writing test for me. So I'm going to say, please write test for the above code. So like that Unix pipe concept, it's taking the output of one and feeding it into the next. Now it's not automated, sure, but I didn't have to copy and paste anything. I could interact with one specialized agent and then ask it to feed that dialogue, in this case, this conversation, into the next specialized agent that's going to go start writing things for me. Okay, so see, it's gone through, it's given me some code. And so it's giving me kind of a weird bootstrappy non-library dependent way of running these. So it's telling me like this: set it up more test booleans check pointer. It's like I'm gonna say, can you adjust the test to use PyTest and have better edge case detection. I don't need to put the question mark. I don't need to phrase it as a question. I can be pretty blunt with the statements. It'll figure it out. I think in the previous stream I had some really horribly contrived input that it still figured out what I was going for and kind of the essence of what I wanted. So cool. I didn't have to touch a compiler. I mean, obviously I'm going to, but like I'm not in an IDE. I'm not trying to run any of this stuff. Like there's no tool chain outside of GPT putting this all together for me. I'm just driving with conversation, just trying to talk to it. Oh, so settings to parameterize the test. Awesome. That's pretty cool. Assistant stops speaking, hands back user to the control. Okay, cool. So I think we're good. Let's just take a little look at the work here. Just troll through it. Kind of recap the experience. So write me a Python script up to 10,000. Do not print anything out. It's going to go write that script for me. Cool. I could probably, oh, it'll go infinitely. Interesting. Maybe I should have fed back to it. It's never perfect, but the idea is, things string together. I could have maybe grooved on this bit of code a little bit more. You'll see something really interesting pop out here. I can reply to certain segments in the chat. Let's just try something. I've never tried this before. So now it's back at the normal GPT, but it's still intelligent enough to pick up on that request to amend that piece of the conversation. Now, I never used to always do this. I mean, it's a really useful function, being able to kind of go back into the chat, select a piece, and be able to ask more questions. One thing I'd love to be able to spider that off into a new chat thread. Kind of from there, generate a whole new context so that my main line of thinking is left clean, and then I've kind of got these little tangential rabbit holes or things, because otherwise it gets long, it gets hard, difficult to scroll. I think that's my biggest challenge with these things. I mean, even in this example, it's going to be, if we jam on this for a little bit, it's going to be hard. All right, so what has it done? Okay, cool. It's giving me a better function. It's not at the stage yet where I can say, hey, at localhost, take this and dump it into an IDE. Funny enough, I mean, we could probably run a little experiment at some point where I make a custom GPT that has a function that maybe has some way of dialing back into my file system and updating files. I don't know. Feels like it'd be a fun little thing to tinker on. Who knows? There's a million ideas that come out. Some of them are good. Some of them are just silly. This feels like it might be on the more silly side, but at least we could build a full end-to-end experience. That might be worth exploring. And like I said, additional ChatGPT stuff. So it's adjusted the test. Okay, so it did that. So I've got slightly worse test, I think. It's trying to parameterize everything. I don't like this. I'm very against everything just being parameterized. I mean, it's funny because like when you teach TDD to people, that's kind of their natural inclination. It's like after they kind of get through like the rock, paper, scissors and the FizzBuzz kata, sometimes even at the FizzBuzz, they started to try and stack everything into one or fewer tests. I mean, I guess we're programmed to optimize, as human beings. But anyway, I wouldn't say these are good tests. I'm not happy about that. I mean, I think the tests here that TDD Buddy gave me are slightly better. Variety of cases. Maybe I should have riffed on them a bit more, but that's not really the point. I'm not trying to show like a high quality output. I'm just trying to show you that I can link two things together to make something happen. In GPT land, I don't have to write any code. I can just use conversation to push this forward. Okay, so let's go back to the blog. Let me just see here. All right, cool. So we've got this blog here. I don't want to have to go do anything too crazy. I mean, there's all my other chats. So we'll close this other one. This is the blog we were riffing on. So let's just chat with it a bit. So I did, and this would be cool where if you could chats. That would be nice to bring in some additional context, to be able to spider out pieces of thought and include previous pieces of conversation and kind of weave this dialogue together across more than one window. But, maybe not everyone finds utility in that or would find it difficult to use. I mean, I think that's always the issue. So I'm not going to correct it, just showing you that it can deal with bad stuff. I did an experiment to play with the at. So telling it a little bit about what we did. So now I'm coming back and explaining in this other thread an experiment we broke out into one thread as a side experience. So now it's going to tell me a little bit about that. The building blocks, investigate the journey, morphing on the fly, at the limits of piping and more. The code first, the autogen. I'm going to just stop it. Don't be afraid to stop it. Thinking a bit more about how do we weave that experience in. So I'm just asking you one thing. I could have probably compounded it, but it's going to be more difficult. It's going to tell me the intro, the background. Connect experiment, deeper crown of the coder and the other test suite alchemist. Just for GPT scan, bring the Unix into the HGI. Wow, this thing's getting a little presumptuous here. I don't know if I'll make a statement quite like that. I mean, there's some pretty cool stuff coming out of OpenAI, but bringing Unix into the age of AGI, maybe more just like into the age of AI. I'm gonna stop it. We're gonna go back here, and we're gonna go. Hey, remember this thing you gave us? So let's re-baseline on this. So now it's going to give me a little bit more. So like, okay, let's go back, about exploring these concepts. Okay, I don't know if this is really getting at what I want. I think it's time to take a little step outside the GPT here. Okay, so let's okay, reset again. I gave you the wrong info. Here is the 3 pillars to build on. So now I'm telling it, hey, well, you can read. I want to weave my experience of using GPT-A to write code and then pass that to GPT-B to test. Build your GPT. Here's a refined outline and content creation plan for your post. Universal Unix philosophies, parallels with the past. Living cogwheels, or being open-handed with you. What is that? Yeah, I don't know where it's going today. This feels a little weird. It's not quite the output I'm looking for. Yeah. So let's just see what it says with the continue generating. So that's kind of interesting. So, previous iterations of ChatGPT used to say continue, continue, and it would forget sometimes. It was an annoying user experience. I'm glad that they've moved this forward. So I'm still not getting what I'm looking for. So let's try something different. We're gonna try a new chat. Okay. Given this outline, a blog post on using GPTs in personal workflow. Help me expand this into a full blog post. So now I like this title better. I think it's actually done me a solid there. I didn't like our working title. Leveraging the past to pioneer the future, the symbiosis of Unix composability and AI potential in workflows. Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting this. I'm still not quite getting what I'm looking for here. If I go up, like, I'm gonna snag this title. I think that was a good piece of innovation. And I think, there's a real interesting thing to call out here is like it's not get in, find the perfect prompt, do the perfect thing. It works. It's a tool to just help you burn that cycle faster, to get through it quicker. It's going to give you garbage sometimes. Let me just ask it to simply the title. Simplify the title, leveraging the past to pioneer the future, uniting AI's potential in workflows. I like that a little bit more. Yeah, leveraging the past to pioneer the future, uniting Unix composability with AI's. Uh, is it AI's? Let me just ask it. So, I mean, there's a specific. Uh, uh, I think it's having a little bit of problems today, folks. It's giving me just odd output. I would not expect this. Something ain't happy in the machine today. Okay. So I'm going to ask it slightly differently. Let's try something different. Keeping it simple, given this outline and these steps, because I'm going to still like the approach. Start with the basics. And let's just see what it comes up with. So I'm just going to go back and say, can you write a blog article about This is a little more what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for Shakespearean poetry. I'm sure that's what the other stuff wasn't, but it felt like it. Yeah, this is a little more what I'm expecting to see. Something insightful, something useful, something that kind of blends everything together. Now, I'll probably get this in and paste it, and I can't say this will be the exact final version I publish, but I think we've got a more complete sense of kind of what my creative process around doing this is. So, all in total, what, an hour for blog posts? Probably less. I think next time we'll go through this start to end on a topic. Maybe I'll pick something quite hurt. Okay, now I'm getting weird stuff again. I don't know what on earth. So I think we're gonna take this. What is this? No, I still don't like it. No, I think I'm gonna tell it to continue it. I don't know what planet this thing has decided to hop onto. It just doesn't flow like the other stuff does. So maybe we need to help it a little bit. Let's go back to our post. Let's go view our site. I'm in. We'll just pop out here. I'm just gonna say something as elegant as "You are whack." Please. The style and tone of this. Okay. Ooh. Large word poet. Excuse me. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it good. So sometimes things don't always work out. That's where we're at. I still think there's some interesting thoughts here. I think I'm gonna have to work on making that all happen. Well, anyway, it's been interesting. We're gonna end this session now. Have a wonderful day, folks.